So last week, Kyle had his eye thing. That was like over 2 weeks. My kid got a bug bite on her face that got infected. And it was like half of her face and she looked like half a chipmunk. My mom came home from her trip and basically almost immediately went to the emergency room because she was sick as a dog. And then I left the emergency room after they transferred her to another hospital and was back less than 12 hours later with Nessie. That was another experience altogether. And then my mom's been in the hospital the whole time. Ness was out of work for 5 days for just basically being a woman, bullshit like that. She came back to work yesterday. Last night, her grandmother fell. She lives with her grandmother, broke her leg, which is the other leg from the one she broke a year or two ago. Oh, and my kids are in camp this week. My kids who do not leave my house, they leave my house, but like only with us, who have never been away from us, literally ever, unsupervised, unless it's by like Kyle's mom or Vanessa. That's it. They're in camp this week. So not only am I like running back and forth to the hospital, which is 30 minutes away, I also have to have my kids to camp by 8 a.m., which is not a problem. And then somebody has to pick them up at 3:30 every day. So this is three things I have to do every day. 3 things that I have to like keep in my brain that I have to find time to do every day. And if I have one thing, I am useless the whole day. So poor Vanessa last night texted me and was like, my grandmother fell and I did the appropriate thing. I did the right thing. And I was like, oh no, that's not good. What does she need? And she told me. And then after that, I was like, but she's at the hospital? And she's like, yeah, the ambulance is coming to get her. And I was like, cool, your family's there? Yeah, everybody's here. You guys have everything you need? Yeah, cool. Turn off. Brain is full. No space. We have no space. And then this morning, Kyle was like, have you heard from Vanessa? And I was like, maybe. She probably texted me. He was like, did you want to check? And I was like, maybe. And then he took over from there because he was like, you're not going to process any of this information, are you? And I was like, nope, nothing, nope. So both fortunately and unfortunately, I say fortunately, not that I want my mother to be in the hospital, but fortunately in that this is where she needs to be right now. She's sick. I'm glad that we were able to get her into the right place to get well. Obviously, nobody wants to be in the hospital, but it's definitely where she needs to be right now. So unfortunately, she is sick. Fortunately, she has access to good medical care and is in a hospital where they are taking great care of her. Whenever she gets sick, she gets admitted to the transplant unit at the hospital where she had her transplant done. Not that she is currently having any trouble with that organ. It's actually, knock wood, doing really well. But once you've had a transplant, they treat everything as secondary to the transplant. So she got admitted to the transplant unit. And she's been there, I don't know, a couple days now, maybe four days. You're supposed to lose track of time and space when you're in the hospital. I, however, am not in the hospital and have no sense of time and space. She's been there sometime between like 3 days and a year. Let's put it that way. It's somewhere in there. I'm not entirely sure where. I went up to see her the other day and she has this nasty cough. And so like, I feel bad making her talk. And so I like find things to do while I'm there. I just like scroll my phone or I don't know, tidy up things around her room because it really is just very difficult for her to talk. She got a little frustrated with me the other day because she's like, you come up here and you don't even talk to me. And I'm like, talk. And she started coughing and I was like, bop, 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 bop. You see that? Do you see that? Sometimes I know what I'm doing. Also, I don't want to talk to anybody. Ha. Anyway. Especially when you're on a transplant unit, they have nurses that come in all the time. They have all sorts of people who come in and check a bunch of things. They check your weight constantly because they're worried about fluid retention, whatever. And so the nurse comes in and she needed more labs done. And my mom has just horrifically bad veins, horrible veins. And she only has one arm that you can pull labs out of because the other arm has her dialysis port in it and she doesn't use it anymore, but you can't pull labs from it anymore. Or you can't pull labs from that arm because there's no access. It's just like a whole thing. Every time she has to get blood drawn, it's a whole ass thing. So this nurse comes in though, and she's doing all of the things that she has to do, which is so many things. And she says to my mom, somebody told me that you were a phlebotomist. And my mom's like, well, yeah. And to be clear, she was a phlebotomist 50 years ago. approximately, pretty close to 50 years ago. She has not worked as a phlebotomist, at least during my entire life, and probably for 10 years before that. 50 years. That's terrifying, but 50 fucking years. She looks at her and says, somebody told me that you were a phlebotomist. And my mom says, yeah. And she goes, I'm really bad with tricky veins. Can you show me? She's like, can you talk me through? Because I also know that you have pretty bad veins. And I'm just not very good at it. Can you show me? And my mom was like, yeah, I can show you. Do you want me to draw it on myself? And she's like, no, I want to do it, but just like talk me through it. So my mom goes, okay, I can do that. And so she walks over to my mom, doesn't give her any of the materials, but she's like, I'm just going to pretend like I don't know what I'm doing. And I want you to tell me exactly where to start and like how to find the vein, how to identify it before sticking, and then what I do after. My mom walked her through the whole thing. Took probably 15 minutes of just like talking. My mom was like super engaged the whole time. My mom is sharp, but very clearly feels sick, and so she's foggier than she normally is. I just want to be clear about something. This woman probably takes labs 20 times a day. She does not need help from my mother. She did not need help from my mother at all. She knows how to take labs. She knows how to draw them. She is fine with tricky veins. When you have trouble finding the vein, you call the RN because the RN knows how to do it. The RN is good at it. I think my mom was like just sick enough that she didn't realize what was happening, which is that this woman was just trying to get her engaged and make sure that her brain was still working and that she was able to show her how to do something. And I just sat there the whole time just like marveling. Who thinks of that? Who thinks of, I'm going to have this woman teach me how to do something that is so far ingrained in her brain wrinkles just to get her brain working, just so that she has some sort of stimulation, so she's not staring at the TV for 23 hours a day between naps, so that she's engaged and feels just a tiny bit better about this whole shit-ass situation. After she was done, she like made eye contact with me, and she didn't really wink, but she like might as well have winked. And I was like, I see you. I see you. All that to say, we do not deserve nurses. We do not deserve nurses. Who thinks of that? Who is like, I'm gonna have this woman teach me how to do something I've done 27 times today because it will make her day the tiniest bit better. Because it will make her feel competent and capable and like there is something on the other side of this very long hospitalization. Who thinks of that? Who thinks of that? We do not deserve nurses. We need 7,000 people who are more like nurses and probably more like 7 million people, not 7,000, maybe even 7 billion. A lot of people who are that cool. We need more people who are that cool. I can't do dates. I can't do numbers. I can't do time. Can't do any of it right now, but I know we need more. Do that. But yeah, we do not deserve nurses. Do you ever like forget what it's like to be around normal people and then say something that either makes sense to you or that you think is objectively funny and forget that this person does not probably understand your sense of humor at baseline? And then it comes out of your mouth and you're like, oops, probably shouldn't have let that one out into the world without qualification. That's a blast. And like, you guys know I don't like the term normal because I don't think normal exists, but there is kind of like a baseline for things that are socially acceptable to say, and this is probably not any of them. I had a moment yesterday where my mom's nephrologist called me. And it's not her normal nephrologist. It's her hospitalist nephrologist because she's in the hospital right now. So he called me to talk about her kidney things because anytime she's hospitalized, the first thing we have to worry about is the kidney because she went and got this extra kidney a couple years ago. And it's like a big thing that we have to worry about. Anyway, so it's like a whole ass thing. And so he called me to basically give me the update because it's impossible to be at the hospital enough to catch all of the doctors. She has so many doctors right now. She has a nephrologist. She has a pulmonologist. She has an infectious disease doctor. She has an endocrinologist. She has a cardiologist. She's like just a hospitalist, which is internal medicine. There's just so many freaking doctors and it's impossible to catch all of them. I said to the nurse, like, when doctors come through, they need to call me because she's not a reliable historian and I want to make sure they're doing shit correctly. And I also need to threaten them personally. And by threaten them, I mean, if you don't figure out what's going on, I'm not bringing her home, which is a personal threat. They take it as a threat. Let's put it that way. I don't actually threaten them. I would never actually threaten a doctor. But however, I would threaten them with having to take my mother home with them. And they would be like, oh God, no. So he calls me and he's like, hey, just want to let you know, her kidney studies are fine. Creatinine looks good. Everything seems to be working right. We're working a little bit on her anti-rejection meds because I think from being sick, they got a little wonky, but he's like, everything looks fine. And me, being me, replied to him, oh, so kidney Poitier is fine? The pause. It was the pregnantest of pauses as he processed what I just said to him. And he goes, did you just call her transplanted kidney? And I said, yep. Yeah, I did. I did that. Yeah, I'll be over here if you need. That came out of my mouth. Yeah. And to be fair, when she got called, then they said they had a kidney for her and she was rushing into the hospital. It was like mid-COVID, so I didn't go with her. And I was just like, okay, tell Kidney Poitier that he better get his shit together. And since then, that has been the kidney's name. It is what we call it. She got an extra kidney and we named it because, of course, you name it. I forgot that this is like a professional person who probably does his best to keep a straight face most of the time when he's working and talking about very serious things. And I just flew out of my mouth as if he knew the context. I guess he technically does know the context because he knows that she got herself a new kidney. So after he processed what I said and my response to it, he did start laughing and I felt better. I was just like, man, the pipe between my brain and my mouth seems to be closed. Maybe it's not closed. Maybe it's open. There's a filter that's supposed to be there that has gotten knocked off or something because it just flew right out. No context. Didn't tell him that's what we call it. Just addressed her extra kidney as Kidney Poitier to a complete stranger who took it like a champ. So anyway, have you ever done that? Have you ever just said something in front of somebody who had no context, forgetting that it was going to sound unhinged and then realized how unhinged it sounded? And if so, welcome to the club. And we've been waiting for you.